Hello, everyone. Bill here from the Attentive Traveler. Welcome to episode number 9, Assisi, Italy. Assisi is famous for its hometown boy, St. Francis, who made very, very good. While Francis is the saint is interesting. Francesco Bernardone, the man, is even more so. And mementos of his days in Assisi are everywhere. Where he was baptized, a shirt he wore, a hill he prayed on, and a church where a vision changed his life. In this episode, I'll briefly connect the dots, our choices on getting from Siena to Assisi, as well as getting from the train station to our hotel. We'll then dive into how we decided what to see, where to lay our heads, and what to eat. We'll also discuss tours and whether we chose any guides. Around the year 1200, this simple friar from Assisi countered the decadence of church government and society in general with a powerful message of non-materialism and a slow down and smell God roses lifestyle. Like Jesus, Francis taught by example, living without worldly goods and aiming to love all creation. A huge monastic order grew out of his teachings, which were generally embraced, so some people would say co-opted, by the church. Christianity's most popular saint and its purest example of simplicity is now glorified by beautiful churches, along with his female counterpart, Saint Clare. In 1939, Italy made Francis one of its patron saints. In 2013, the newly elected Pope took his name. Francis's message of love and simplicity and sensitivity to the environment has a broad and timeless appeal. But every pilgrimage site inevitably gets commercialized, and Francis's legacy is now Assisi's basic industry. In summer, this Umbrian town bursts with flash-in-the-pan Francis fans and Franciscan knickknacks. Those able to see past the glow-in-the-dark rosaries and bobblehead friars can have a travel-on-purpose experience. Even a block or two off the congested main drag, you'll find pockets of serenity that, it's easy to imagine, must have made Francis feel at peace. Let's connect the dots. How do we get from the hotel in Siena to Assisi? It's not the easiest by train. St. Rick Steves suggests we take the bus. It is quicker. It's only 2 hours by bus versus almost twice as long by train. But unfortunately, we are arriving into Assisi on a Saturday, and the only bus from Siena to Assisi leaves late afternoon. That doesn't leave us any time to see Assisi. So train it is. We're going to get an early start at just before 7 a.m. for a 1 hour and 16-minute ride from Siena to Firenze Rifredi. We've got a bit less than 15 minutes to connect to the intra-city 583 for another 1 hour and 15-minute ride to Tarantola Cortona. We then have an even tighter window, less than 10 minutes, to catch our last train of the day, the regional 4711, for a 1 hour and 7-minute ride to Assisi that should arrive at around 1:45. And then we'll catch a cab to our hotel. Crowned by a ruined castle, Assisi spills downhill from its famous Basilica of St. Francis. The town is beautifully preserved and it's rich in history. The town is smaller than its fame might lead you to think. Walking uphill from the Basilica to Piazza Matteotti takes 30 minutes. Well, the downhill journey takes about 15. Now, although St. Francis is the star, there is more to see. Rick Steves offers a free Assisi town walk tour that I plan on listening to during our stroll downhill. But let's start with a trick question. Who is Assisi's patron saint? While Francis is one of Italy's patron saints, Rufino, the town's first bishop, martyred and buried here in the 3rd century, is Assisi's. The Cathedral of San Rufino is 11th century Romanesque with a neoclassical interior and is dedicated to Rufino. Although it has what is considered to be one of the best and purest Romanesque facades in all of Umbria, the big triangular top, just a decorative wall, was added in Gothic times. Dedicated to the founder of the Order of the Poor Clares, the Basilica of St. Clare, the Umbrian Gothic church, is simple, in keeping with the nuns' dedication to a life of contemplation. In Clare's lifetime, this order was located in the humble church of San Damiano in the valley below. But after Clare's death, they needed a bigger and more glorious building. The church was built in 1265, and the huge buttresses were added in the next century. The Basilica of St. Francis is Assisi's 3-star must-see. It is said to be one of the artistic and religious highlights of Europe. It stands where, in 1226, St. Francis was buried, with the outcasts he had stood by, outside of his town on the Hill of the Damned, now called the Hill of Paradise. The basilica is frescoed from top to bottom with scenes by the leading artists of the day: Cimabue, Giotto, Simone Martini, and Pietro Lorzanetti. A 13th century historian wrote, "No more exquisite monument to the Lord has been built." Rick Steves also has a free Basilica audio tour that I plan to enjoy. In the lower town, the Basilica of Santa Maria degli Angeli is huge. It towers above the buildings of Santa Maria degli Angeli, the modern part of Assisi, in the flat valley below the hill town. It marks the spot where Francis lived and worked and died. It's a grandiose church built around a humble chapel, reflecting the monumental impact of this simple saint on his town and on the world. And finally, if you want to follow further in St. Francis's footsteps, you can take a trip up the rugged slopes of nearby Mount Suspasio to what is described as the humble, peaceful hermitage where Francis and his followers retreated for solitude. Today the spot is marked by a 14th century friary that's still occupied by Franciscan monks. The path twists through, watch your head, door frames, and steep stairways of the medieval structure. A highlight is a tiny, dank cave where Francis was said to retire for private prayer. On the far side, near a stone bridge, there is said to be a tree dating from Francis's time. This is said to be where Francis preached to the birds. And from here, rustic paths lead to open-air chapels in the surrounding forest. It is the kind of place that makes one want to be a Franciscan for a little while. Assisi accommodates large numbers of pilgrims on religious holidays. Finding a room other than those holidays should be and was quite easy. Price rankings are based on rates during our May and June visit, and beware that some hotels are not air-conditioned. We chose the Hotel Umbra. It is said to be a peaceful villa in the middle of town. It has 24 spacious, antique-furnished rooms with great view terraces. It's said to be a bit old-fashioned, but it's supposed to be well-run, well-maintained, friendly, and beautifully located. It is also said that stepping into the breakfast room is like entering a time warp. We are able to get our night for 140 euros. Assisi's food is heavy and rustic. Locals brag about their sausage and love to grate truffles on pasta. To bump up any meal, a glass or a bottle of the favorite homegrown red wine, Sagrantino de Montefalco. Sagrantino is Umbria's answer to Brunello, although some of my wine lover friends would say it's vice versa. Before or after dinner, enjoy a drink on the main square facing the Roman temple. Or maybe we'll hang out with the local teens with a takeaway beer under the temple's columns. Jackie and I are attempting to secure a reservation at Osteria Piazzetta dell'Erba. Local guides and tour companies offer plenty of walking tours that cater to a variety of interests. Rick Steves has 2 guides that he suggests and includes contact information within his guide book. I've included them on this slide. There are a number of licensed, well-trained guides available, and I've included Rick's favorites also on this slide. Our next stop takes us to Umbria and its fine views, wine, and charming villages. I normally don't like one-stop night stops anywhere. We've actually got a number coming up in a row. Yuck. But we'll hopefully be able to enjoy the villages and some of the delight of Orvieto after dark. Well, this wraps up our 9th stop on our Italian adventure, Assisi. We've reached day 16 of our adventure, and I hope you have enjoyed this and have found it informative. If you're anything like me, and planning a trip is almost as much fun as going on it, then be sure to tune in for all of our episodes. So until next time, when we travel to Orvieto and Civita for a day of views and wine, eat well and take care.